Hey, guys. Welcome back to the 307 podcast. We're glad you're here with us. We've got a lot to talk about on this podcast episode right here. First thing that we should acknowledge is what I just said a minute ago. Blake and Cornbread are men of service to others, and me and Chili are just two selfish gnats.
Yeah.
That's kind of the conclusion I've come to this morning, you know. I offered you $20,000 to have a child, and you won't do it. That's a deal.
Yeah, that's a deal there.
I mean, to me, that's an odd proposition to take you up on.
You're so selfish, you won't even have a child for $20,000. I mean, that'll cover what? What would that cover? Their first 5 years of life at least?
Their first 2 weeks of diapers.
Well, you got that hospital bill when you go there and have that little baby.
You don't.
Dude,
people aren't having babies at hospitals
It's
anymore.
expensive to
By
live.
golly, they are too.
No, most normal people are now having their babies at home. They figured out you don't have to go to the hospital to have a baby.
It's expensive to be alive, and it's expensive to die.
Oh yeah,
Really?
most definitely. Yeah.
What does it cost if you did go the traditional route and have your baby at a hospital? What does it cost? Does anyone know who's watching, viewers?
I ain't got no idea.
Has anyone had a child lately? Blake, you've had the most recent child. Do you remember what it cost?
I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't remember.
Well, maybe a viewer will drop it in the comments because I would be interested to know.
It
But-
can range from 6,000 to 13 to over
my
13,000.
gosh.
well, that's if
depending on
complications
several
come.
factors.
I mean, that is so crazy.
But
Yeah, 20,000. Why would I take you up on that? That's not selfish.
So at the minimum, it just got knocked down to 14,000. You know,
you're
that
so
20.
selfish, you won't even have a child for $20,000.
I don't
That's
even.
how selfish of a gnat you are.
I don't even think that's selfish.
I mean, I'm
to turn
sitting
down
here,
money for that. I'm turning down money.
I'm sitting here right now wishing one of you guys would offer me $20,000 to have a child. You know, that's a new Toyota pickup truck.
that you ain't going to be able to drive around because you're going to be feeding that baby a baba.
Or have time to work on it whenever it's from the dang 80s like the rest of your crap and don't run half the time.
Yeah.
You ain't going to have time to work on your stuff.
Me and Chili are two selfish gnats. I just wanted to go ahead and announce that at the beginning of the show. We got a lot to cover, though, man.
I agree I'm selfish, but not because I won't take your money for having a kid.
I offered you a deal of a lifetime.
Okay, offer me 200,000, then you could call it a deal. 20 grand, yeah, you can't even have a kid for 20 grand.
That's
Chili won't leave his porch for less than 20 grand.
That is true. That is true. It's hard to get him out of the apartment for less than 20 grand.
But the bigger thing is, why are you offering him that money? Get to that.
That's a good point.
Because I
Good point.
I want to be able to spend time with his offspring and help mentor them.
That's
because
not what it was about
he's
earlier.
reached.
You told me it was about so your kid could grow up with a buddy.
That would be cool. But like Chili has reached his zenith. I can no longer mentor him as my young Padawan. So I figured the best, the next best thing would be to convince him to have a child, and then that would give me a whole new, purpose in life.
Right.
I like mentoring other people's kids. I can't imagine doing it on, mentoring my own kid. But
Who all have you mentored?
well, I mean, right now I'm mentoring. I'm helping mentor one of Blake's daughters.
Yeah, if you want to look at it like that.
But I see raising kids more along the lines of the traditional Native American, patterns
Here we
where
go.
the
It's like corn in the DNR.
Corn,
the
well,
uncle raised the kids. All right. The mom and dad, and they did that to make the kids strong.
He's got the blood in him.
yeah, Corn was in touch with his ancestors just the other day. So
Yeah, true that.
What are
Did you
y'all
know
talking
he's 18% Cherokee Indian?
Are you serious?
My grandmother's mother was full-blooded Cherokee Indian. Full-blooded.
Did you take a DNA test?
No, I didn't have to take a DNA test.
That that literally makes him 12.5%.
Your grandmother's mom.
Yeah.
So your great grandmother
Was full-blooded
was
Cherokee.
look corn by that time there were really not any full-blooded Cherokee Indians left. Buddy.
They's full-blooded Indians now. Bud.
No, they
By golly, they are too
they're
on
all
the
mixed up.
reservations.
No.
Full-blooded Cherokee Indian. Yeah.
I bet she probably looked like a Native American and like probably had it in her heritage.
It's gonna make him so.
But I'm going to tell you right now,
I'm not even going to indulge.
there
in it.
are not any full-blooded Native Americans
Yeah,
left.
but you don't know what he felt the last time we were going over Taylor's Ridge.
Yeah.
You don't know what he felt in his bones. He felt
Something
it.
happened, huh?
Oh, every time I'm on the pinhoti.
You connect
when I'm deep on the pinhoti.
When that
I
glob
feel
starts,
I feel my ancestors.
You're connecting to your native self.
Yeah. Yeah, where my ancestors once
He
walked.
feels that 1% great grandmother.
Well, I'm 100% white, so I can't relate to you.
Did you get a DNA test?
You selfish
Yeah.
Nat.
Yeah, I'm 100% white, so I can't relate to you on that connecting with the ancestors. You know,
I got you.
all white people have really done is destroy the earth.
I relate to the settlers.
Yeah, but behind every evil deed or destruction of the earth is a white man in a suit. I've learned that.
Yeah.
You see, you know, I just went to the Grand Canyon the other day. We talked about it on Monday meeting. And, you know, I watched a film the other day, and they're trying to build these, like, resort complexes and stuff, like, in the Grand Canyon, like, on the side of the canyon and in the bottom of the canyon. They want to do, like, helicopter pads, and they want to have a gondola that goes down, you know, into the canyon. And, like, anybody who appreciates the outdoors and, you know, beautiful landscape and God's creation, you don't want to see a gondola when you go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to see you don't want to hear helicopters flying back and forth the whole time you're there. And the companies advocating for these construction projects in that beautiful, pristine landscape, it's all being led up by some greedy white man in a suit. I mean, the whole film, they've got him in there debating in the courtrooms and stuff, you know, and it's all greedy white men in suits. They're the destroyers of the earth. The white man is, you know. Really, they are.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
well, Corn's ancestors are Indian. You was talking about Indians raising kids, and then you said you're 100% white.
yeah, and I'm ashamed of that. I have white shame.
Oh my
Well, stand
God.
up and stretch out of it real quick. There you go.
Let
You're
me
stretching
stretch.
out of your whiteness right now.
That's so freaking
Out of my white
crazy.
shame. I've actually considered dyeing my beard black just so I don't look so white.
That's going to make you look even
No,
whiter.
but I'm saying if you have black hair,
yeah.
that means you have some mixed race in you. You know, I have blonde hair and red beard. I'm 100% white. But like if I dyed my beard, people would say, "Oh, he's got something in him. You know, he's got some Asian in him. He's got some, you know, Native American, something other than just pure white."
I don't think nobody's going to say that if you dye your beard
My beard black?
Yeah. They're just going to say, dang, that dude's skin is white. Look how white his skin is, because now your beard's going to be jet black. Yeah, they're not going to debate.
No,
You think
you could
anybody's-
also get your skin tattooed black. There's people that are doing that.
Maybe, yeah, that, you know, I wonder if they offer that to people who have white guilt. Mm-hmm. If you could just have a light shade tattooed
Over
over
your whole body.
skin.
Do you have
Just
white
a
guilt?
light shade. Yeah, I do, yeah. I have, when I think about what the white man has done to the earth,
It keeps me up at night.
I have white guilt. And it was really wrecking me until Trump signed an executive order that banned white guilt,
Yeah.
white shame. Did y'all see where he did
I
that?
didn't see
Yeah,
that.
it was a part of the whole DEI program, diversity, equity, inclusion.
Yeah.
He banned that, and one of the things that he banned in the scope of that
Is having white guilt.
is having white guilt. We are no longer allowed to feel guilty because we're white.
Well, I want some repayment too for
See, look at him.
making us feel that way.
He's got something in him. Blake does. Look at his skin is tan, his beard
olive.
is dark. Yeah.
Y'all
Got
not
a
brothers?
olive tint.
Yeah, but he got something genetics. You know, genetics can be dormant, you know, and sometimes they'll come out in people. But he's got some other type of race in him. He's
Then
a mutt.
then you do.
and
No,
the thing
that-
is,
That's
I didn't come
impossible.
through in me.
No, I don't think you understand. If he's got y'all, you have the same percentage of whatever.
well, listen, I have not felt that white shame
Well, look
on
at
me
you. Look how dark your skin is.
because of that, because of that very reason. So whether he has those genes or not, they're not displayed, and it's affecting his lifestyle on account of it.
I'm just glad I can finally start to get over this because y'all don't know how bad it feels to wake up every day and be ashamed of your whiteness. And I'm glad I can finally get over this since it was banned now by President Donald Trump.
I like being white.
You can do that now.
Yeah, we know.
I've always done it.
You can do it, but you can do it legally now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about not getting the
Would
job.
you, would you
want.
say
want.
would you say you're proud of it?
Oh yeah. The only thing about being white, like I said earlier, if you was a white baby, you was an ugly baby.
Mhm.
All white babies
I
are
agree.
ugly.
I agree.
and-
Pure white babies.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
black babies are cute.
And Mexican
They ain't
babies.
never been an ugly black baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mexican babies are cute.
And I even
too.
think Asian babies are cute.
Oh yeah, I like them.
But white babies, yes, pure whites, they're red. They're
They look
so
like
white,
aliens.
they're red.
They look like
ugly.
aliens. Yeah,
Yeah.
look like an alien baby.
So, it's a good point, Cornbread.
Corn's white and proud.
Glad you brought that up. There's a lot going on, man. Donald Trump is coming in, and he is just cleaning house. Son.
I heard that.
I mean, he is just rolling. He's rolling the coal on these people, man.
Well, he said he's about to start taxing the nations to improve the quality of the citizens' lives rather than taxing the citizens to improve the nations.
Gosh, he oughta. He
Yeah.
flew out the idea of abolishing income tax.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't tease me, Donnie T. Don't tease me like that.
We'll just go ahead and not pay him for last year since you're interested. We hold off.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I don't foresee that happening.
Oh yeah,
It's not going.
He's getting rid of it.
I don't foresee that happening.
There's going to be a one nation tax.
Like I think he's talking about like putting what do they call that?
Tariffs?
Tariffs on other nations.
Well, yeah.
He's already done it.
Yeah, he just hit Colombia with one. They sent a bunch of immigrants over there, and their military turned the planes around. So he said, "Go on ahead and get you a 25% tariff."
Following in the footsteps of the great Warren G. Harding.
That's right. Go on ahead and get you a 25% tariff.
Well, let's go ahead and cover this. I do want to get y'all's thoughts. Now, the biggest thing going right now is the squirrel hunting. That's the biggest
yeah.
thing going, and we're going to get to that.
It's really the only thing going.
Yeah,
everything else is minuscule.
But I made a truck talk yesterday thanking President Trump. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
The people loved it. The people loved it. Now, he is doing a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. It seems to be. My truck talk was on the executive order he signed that's going to allow all the people who were kicked out of the military for not taking the shot. It's going to allow them to come back in. He said they're going to receive back pay.
That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars
5 years.
per person.
5 years.
Yeah. And then they would be able to come back and get their original rank and continue on with their career. I would bet a small percentage is going to want to do that. It's going to be a small percentage because, yeah, you're right. These guys and girls have been out for 5 years. They've had time to establish their own life, and they've probably realized how much better life is out here than it is in the military. But I just thought that was really outstanding. I thought it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen a politician do. But again, maybe it's just really close to my heart because, I was in the military and the whole global sickness thing, I will never forget that crap, man. That was the craziest times, dude.
Do we know the total number that left because of that?
He said it was 8,000 plus.
Okay.
Is what the headline said. My swim buddy that I went through SEAL training with, I'll never forget how mad he used to get at me. When we were out on San Clemente Island, well, really all through SEAL training, but I remember him getting so mad at me out in third phase on San Clemente Island because the rule was you had to run everywhere. You could never be walking. So, like, if you were going from the chow hall to the barracks or whatever, you had to run back and forth. And my swim buddy, this is funny, too, because he was a rule follower. And he used to get so mad at me because I would, if I knew what no instructors was around, I would just walk. But he wanted to run. So he would just have to, like, stay beside me pretend like he's running while I walked. And
because y'all couldn't get separated.
Yeah, we had to be together the whole time. But it's funny that he was the rule follower, and then the mandate to get the shot comes around, and he refused it. They kicked him out.
Well, I mean, I think that rule just crossed the line for just about everybody. You know what I mean? I mean, that was crazy. 8,000 plus, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy. And those, like I said on Truck Talk, I think those 8,000, I mean, you're talking about, that's probably the cream of the crop of the military, The people who had sense enough to know what the crap was going on.
Right.
And actually stand up for what they knew was right. For their own health, and choose to, forego all of the things that they had worked for in order to stand up for what was right. I mean, that's the cream of the crop right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I also saw Donnie cut off any federal funding for abortion. Did you guys see that one? That was an executive order I heard that he signed.
Well, that's good. That's real good.
Is it not mind-boggling, though, that our tax dollars were being used to fund abortion? No, let that sink in. Is that not mind-boggling? That there had to be an executive order signed that says that our federal government will not use our money to fund abortions.
And transgender surgeries for minors.
Yeah.
Double whammy.
He has banned transgenderism. I mean, I can't tell. I was out in Arizona, and I can't tell you when I would go into these big cities how many transgenders I see, working in I saw one. We were eating at a Mexican restaurant, and the hostess was some kind of, it was a boy, but it was something strange. I'm talking about real strange. I don't know. I told Brooke, I said, I'd like to sit down with this fella and just talk to him. She said, you would be mean. I said, no, I just want to listen to him. I just want to say, look, fella, tell me your story and how did you get to this? Like, what happened here? Because it was just, you saw it and it was just abrasive. you know. And I would
Like
see
a
them
Brillo
all over,
pad.
and I told Brooke, I said, I tell you what, these old boys right here, they gonna have to figure something out because they not gonna be doing too good in this Trump world, son.
No, they're canceled.
Transgenderism is banned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It needs to be. I mean, just straight up. I seen one of them cats up there at the Walmart the other day. I thought the same thing. I said, count
You
your
don't get
days,
it, do you,
Bubba.
Corn?
Count your days, transgender.
You don't get it, do you?
Get what?
What's going on? Don't get it.
I'm talking about this pendulum is swinging hard, son. I mean, he's wrecking these folks. Where's all the darn liberals? Why ain't they pitching a fit?
I don't know, man. The news media has flipped teetotally backwards. It's weird.
What's going on?
It's like they ain't unless there is some I ain't seen, which I ain't been watching a bunch of it here of late anyhow. But man, before they would be on Trump with knives and daggers and grenades and pitching a fit, and they're just like, yeah, this is what he's got going on. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. They love showing him signing those orders and him holding it up. Every time you turn on
Every
the
time he does it too, he goes. Someone explains to him like, "This is to ban DEI initiatives and government funding," and he goes, "Ooh, that's a big one." Every time, then they'll be like, "This is one to reinstate the building of the border wall," and he goes, "Ooh, big one."
Yep.
That's a big one.
He'll sign it. And he'll hold that joker up.
Declassified the
JFK. Ooh, that's a big one,
the
right?
assassination files.
Yeah.
But like, where is his? I don't understand. Where is his opposition? I have not been hearing of any of these daggone liberal Satan worshipers pitching a fit about nothing. Like,
They're defeated.
where is Hillary Clinton? Where's Barack Obama?
They're defeated. Is that what you
They're
said?
defeated.
We're
son.
not even gonna say where is Joe Biden.
He's
He's
done,
on the way to the grave.
He's done run them down into the grimy deep, man. They don't want none of Trump. He's got the Oval Office now. He's the one with the rod. They don't want none of that.
They better hope he spares the rod. That's what
right.
they're hoping.
Believe that.
I mean, I'm really wondering. Does anybody have any answers to this? Like, did you not expect any more opposition? And
No,
There's no
I
opposition.
literally said this would happen months ago. I mean, we talked about it. Like, that was the whole point of, like, he was going to get elected. And, you're saying just about a 180.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to praise him. You can't do that.
Right.
I mean, Lord, you can't start saying he's the greatest thing ever. But just all the opposition, all the constant barrage of articles bashing him and making everything that he does wrong, that's just stopped. He's come around.
They don't want to smoke.
it's a hard swing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Have you, Corn? You're the old wise one in the room. Have you ever witnessed a swing this hard? Because I mean, I remember the swing from Clinton to Bush.
Yeah.
But like that was just like an easy swing. Like
Yeah.
Well, you better pay attention to what comes through in the shadows of this.
There had always been, when I was a kid on up through a teenager and a young man, like just a common respect for the president anyhow, up until probably Barack Obama. Barack probably was the first one that got hammered really hard.
You're talking about as far as there was a large group of people that actually hated him, that thought he was Satan.
Yeah. Barack was probably, I mean, they all got it throughout history, but Barack probably got the brunt of the right wing media way before, W got the hardness from what he got wasn't nothing like what Barack got. So I'd say it probably started during Barack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up with that face Bush made in the inauguration?
Tweaking.
Yeah.
He's tweaking.
Did y'all see that?
I did. I seen it. Yeah.
What was that all about?
Speed or something.
I think he was like, yeah, this is big. He was like,
They said he made that face.
More money in my pockets.
They said he made that face when Trump was talking about all the things he was going to declassify, and when he didn't say 9/11, he did that face.
Oh man. Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, Obama changed some things for sure.
yeah,
His presidency.
yeah.
08 was wild.
It
because
was
of
absolutely.
that. I agree with you. I think that was the first time a national media had ever like got so split over how they were going to respond and react to the guy. And then, like you said, right-wing people hated his guts, man.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know when a Democratic president was treated like they were the devil, And I agree. I mean, freaking Obama was a terrible president, but like that just had never happened before. That people started coming out and saying this dude is a dang demon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
just trying their dangest to dig up any and everything that they could, just left and right. The same way Trump got treated last time he was in office.
Well, 2016 and 2020, Trump's campaigns were just unparalleled hate.
Right.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone, man.
Yeah.
I mean, how you gonna hate a guy that got shot in the ear and stood up with his fist up?
It's really strange.
Is it? Why is it? Why is it strange?
It's because it's like
it's exactly what you would expect.
It feels like we've now shifted. Like it feels like we're living in some semi-utopia.
No, dude, it makes total sense. Like, why would they not? Like, why would you not swing the pendulum this way? Because it completely. What people don't understand is in 2016 and 2020, everyone was like, man, we were so divided as a nation and so divided, and now it feels like we're coming together. We ain't no less divided than we were in 2016. The division that you saw in 2016 and 2020 was so much of it was fabricated by the media. I mean, yes, there are people that
I see what you're saying.
that are on the ground Antifa and thought Trump was the devil and hate him.
Point, yeah.
But like 90% of the dang country wasn't even that. They didn't feel that strongly.
Yeah.
Like to hate him. It was just the dang media that brought the hate out like that.
Well, but
people love him. I get it. People love him, and some people hate him. But like, it ain't nowhere near the way the media would make it seem to be. If you just watch the media and you're in another country, you would think we are killing each other in the streets over politics. You really would.
Yeah, and that makes you wonder about what they show in the other countries too.
I mean, the media makes it like we are at each other's daggum throats, dude. And it really ain't like that. Not quite like that. I can go to a dang restaurant and not really give a crap who the person voted for. Yeah. Most people are like that. All I'm saying is the media is what controlled how divisive we thought it all was. So all they've done is backed off a little bit. And now we think that somehow we're living in some kind of a utopia. The people that disagree with Trump are still there. It's half the dang country aren't happy that he's the president. It's just the media's backed off.
Well, it's less than half because he won.
Okay, yeah, 48%.
Yeah, don't get it. He won all the swing states.
But what's strange to me is like when you ban transgenderism, the expectation that I would have is that the even though the transgenders are a very small percentage of the population here in the U.S., there's enough of them to go and do a protest or like
Chad, they probably are somewhere, but the media's not covering it.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like,
so that's what's happening.
The 10 people that pissed off are still pissed off, and they're at the campuses protesting right now. But you're not showing it. Everything in this country is
I see. That's genius.
They decide exactly what they're going to show and not show.
Yeah,
it's why there's some daggum school shootings that literally you couldn't get nobody to talk about. And then there's some that are literally in the news every day for a month, and we put the flag down for a month. And you can name them. You can name the ones. like we've had a bunch of dang school shootings. It is not good.
Yeah.
But how many can you name? You can name like Parkland, Uvalde, all these big ones. There's been 20 in the last year. You can't name half of it because they don't show them, and that's totally intentional. What's the daggum difference? They're all school shootings. Why would you focus on one more than the other? Because there's a political agenda behind it. When the Israel-Hamas protests broke out on campuses, they talked about that nonstop, about like big schools like Harvard and Columbia, and they talked about it nonstop. People showing it on Instagram, sharing it, the kids doing violent protests, saying Free Palestine. Those have not stopped, yet you don't see one bit of it on the news.
Yeah.
And there's campus protests about abortion every freaking day, but it doesn't need to be shown at the moment for whatever their purpose is.
I just wonder though, like, what's the new agenda of the propaganda machine? Like, what's the new agenda?
Well, now you've got.
I'm confused here. Maybe I've been squirrel hunting too much.
But now you've got Big Daddy Trump back in, man. It's just pacification.
Man, you think some strange things might spawn out of the shadows of this?
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. They already are. I mean,
have you seen anything that I need to be aware of?
Well, I will say the AI, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of rifts within the Republican side right now, and Trump's team's falling apart. Vivek
already. Well, yeah, I heard he.
Ramaswamy, he's gone to go be the Ohio governor, and people think, like. Elon's already kind of getting kicked out by Trump.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just fall guys. Trump keeps a lot of fall guys around him. He builds up these people, so when something goes awry, he can blame them and not himself. And they're perfect fall guys because half the people hated him anyway. So Elon, when he does something stupid, you can just throw him to the side. But right now, Elon is fighting with that Sam Altman guy, and there's a big controversy over how America should respond to the Chinese AI that came out, DeepSeek AI, that's kind of like a Chat GPT thing that's Chinese and way better.
Is it available here?
Dude, I don't even know.
Okay. Like, I did see something about that.
I don't even know what can and can't be done with some of that software, if you want to call it, because that AI is over my head. Like how it works and what you do with it is over my head. But all I'm saying is that technology is what the focus is right now. It just worldwide.
Yeah.
That technology has gotten to the point that every major figure, every rich person, every world leader that's really what their main concern is, to, I guess, figure out, get a handle on. There's a lot of things that when we compete with China on, it's used as justification because China's doing it, then we have to do it because we don't want it to get into the wrong hands.
Yeah, we want to remain the world power, right?
Yeah, and Trump is the perfect president to push some of those initiatives forward because you need an America First agenda to use that argument. Because if you don't have a president that is kind of an American First populist president, well then it just doesn't really work. To like the competition with other countries, it's more.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And I don't believe a globalist world, a globalist agenda will come through. A lot of people think that nationalism is the answer to combat globalism, but I think what's going to happen is nationalism will actually be the conduit for globalism. What will happen is you will get several strong world leaders who are very nationalist. Like they're very pro their country. There's that Viktor Orban in Hungary.
That's how they get strong.
But then what I think will happen is over time, not within the next 4 years, but Trump will set the stage well for some of this expansion into like, oh, well, Canada's going to become part of the United States. Yeah. And then like China will do the same thing and Russia will do the same. Like all of that is it's almost like passive globalism. You don't think of it that way because you've got this dude talking about America first, but as America gets bigger and bigger and bigger and absorbs the whole dang globe, well, then it is no longer nationalism. It is globalism.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's the consolidation of nations.
And a lot of people don't think that'll ever happen because, well, how are you ever going to get Russia, China, and the U.S. to ever agree on that level and kind of become more? Well, yeah, I don't think you're within 4 years of that, but a lot's going to change. And AI is one of those things that's going to be so powerful that it's not inconceivable to say, hey, we've all got nuclear weapons. We've all got this AI where we're spying on it, blah, blah, blah. Like, we almost have to cooperate on a certain level to avoid what this could cause, the destruction that this could cause for it's almost like a self-interested thing,
right?
To work, to be cooperative with somebody else who can also destroy you. It really, I mean, it is like that's kind of where I see it going is, and Trump will be I truly think Trump's presidency will bring a lot of peace to the world. Like, really, I do. I mean, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot more relaxed tensions with Russia. I think that war with Ukraine, I didn't think it would end necessarily the first day that he was in office like some, but it will. I definitely will come to an end, I think. Israel and Palestine, it's the continuation of what he did in his first 4 years will definitely settle down. You're never going to stop that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I do think the only war that I do think could spring up from this in the next 4 years involving the U.S., this is kind of counter to what I just said about peace, but like I think a conflict with Iran is going to be hard to avoid. If you've noticed, the media is foreshadowing that big time. Really? Yeah, hard. Yeah, that we need to go into Iran. A lot of defense contractors are already mobilizing for prep on the ground in Iran. Like, I don't know. I think we'll try to not fight it directly. Like, I don't think Trump wants to send troops into Iran like we did in Iraq and Afghanistan and everything. Right. But I think we're going to kind of fight that through proxy on a different level than has ever been done because Trump is a big Israel protector.
Yeah.
And that seems good and all, but Iran is like, I believe they're going to do something to Israel in this administration that Trump has to respond to with force, even though he's kind of an anti-war president.
Right.
I think that will be the one straw that gets that to break. But I do believe, like, ultimately, whether it's 4 years from now or 40 years from now, that, like, the globalist coming together is going to happen, and it will be through a period of peace and cooperation because of technology and all that. I just don't know the timeline of that, but that could all happen really fast. Like, Iran could be aggressive to Israel really soon, and then whatever the reaction to that is, and then that clears up, and then we move forward, and a lot's going to happen, I think. I think it'll be, like, dizzying how fast things happen now.
I don't – you hit a lot on the AI stuff and how that's going to play so heavily into, what the future's going to look like. And I never consider the AI thing because I don't understand it. I don't even understand the purpose of it. Like, I'm getting to be old stock. I'm getting to be the age where I'm old stock, like the people that now that are, they can't do anything with their cell phone except make a phone call.
Yeah.
That's going to be me in 10
I
years.
just think
from now,
AI is going to come into play with warfare a lot.
Yeah, but you even mentioned of how powerful it's going to be, and like just not being for nations to spy on each other, and everything's just going to essentially be out in the open. And then I also think surely it's also going to be a extremely powerful tool for propaganda and manipulating the minds of the masses. You know what I mean? But I never consider it, and it's weird how fast it has come like into focus as like a major thing, because it seems like maybe just a few years ago they started talking about the Chat GPT, and that was like the first public introduction that I saw to AI, and we just thought it was some like fun little. I mean, I just saw it as some little fun little program that was making people's lives easier. But realizing that this AI is more than just that, and that it's truly going to change the course of things, I think, potentially.
Yeah, it's just...
It's got to be way more powerful than I understand it is, because there's no other reason that that this much effort towards what we know of as AI is being made by the most powerful nations in the world.
The thing is it just when it needs to be combined with something that can carry out a task. So AI, when it's just on a computer, it's a program, right? Like a Chat GPT type thing. You put in input and ask it a question, and it can feed out the answer. But like to be powerful, it needs hands and feet, right?
Yeah.
Like it needs...
And eyes.
It needs to be... But then when combined with, drones and missiles and all that, like it kind of has that. Mm-hmm. So like when you can combine it with that, then that's a strange tool that you don't even have to get people that involved with.
Right. And
it can do a lot. And I think a lot of the tech people, like this is just never talked about, but if you listen to any tech people or people working in the artificial intelligence space, their goal is to live forever. I mean, it's a whole new class of, science that people talk about, that longevity science. Just like they believe that they can figure out how to live forever, and it's anti-aging and all that. And people think this is just Neuralink, the kind of implant the brain chip, but no, it's many more companies than that working on it. And if you combine what artificial intelligence is, and you can literally implant that into your brain, I mean that changes the whole course of history in and of itself. If you really can get to that point. I mean, there is a person who had the first successful Neuralink transfer. I think he had a traumatic brain injury. He's paralyzed and something else, something was going on, and they did the Neuralink procedure, and he's running off a dang computer now or whatever. I mean, and they've done interviews with him, and he can talk and everything. I mean, really.
He can walk and stuff?
I don't know if he can walk fully yet, but it's insane. And it's being marketed as something that's going to be used for extreme medical cases at first, kind of like a really dangerous drug. I mean, that's rolled out
Ozempic.
That's rolled out on people who are about to die, because what's there to lose? It's like we think this is good. It's like harsh chemo. It's like, well, this is terrible for you, and a healthy person, it would just make sick as a dog, but you are literally eat up with cancer and about to die, so we're going to try it. And sometimes it works. It's kind of like that same thought process is, we'll use this technology and this Neuralink for people who are in that situation and then see what it does. Well, it's proven it can be successful with this guy. So inevitably there will be people that now voluntarily do it that are perfectly fine. And then once that's the case, and you have all these, whoever's the first people to do it, if it's successful, that's going to make more people do it. I mean, once you have a dang roving band of people with that Neuralink in them, I mean, that's going to change things.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that'll cause.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
because their intelligence that's artificially added to them will I mean, literally.
You're saying it could potentially create like a superhuman.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would think of them that way.
Yeah. So when I'm an old man, it's not. Right now, it's the old man that doesn't know how to use the cell phone. But when I'm the old man, I'm going to be the old man who doesn't have the AI chip in their brain that gives them all knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like still reading a book about something, trying to figure out how to change a part on my truck or something.
Right.
That's going to be me as the old man.
I mean, Chinese, what I guess creeps me out is that we know for a fact that China runs all kinds of experiments with bioweapons labs. Well, we do too, but this particular stuff has come out of China and in other labs using CRISPR technology. That's a gene editor where you can take embryos and edit their genes, and then to create basically biological superhumans. Like you can scramble their DNA and make it whatever you want. I mean, that's crazy. And like that is not even really disputed that they research that and use that, but we don't talk about it. Mm-hmm. And they've developed, they're working on human animal hybrids.
I saw a thing on that. Yeah.
I mean, they really are. Like that's farther along than people think. That CRISPR and gene editing can combine things, and I don't really know what it is when they kind of have a finished product that is alive, because that's happened.
So have they actually grown a human animal hybrid?
Well, it's hard to know what's real.
They're keeping that on the down low.
They're
boy.
keeping that on the very down low. It's hard to know what is real out of some of those Chinese experiments, because they have created things that are literally animal hybrids that are two different species that cannot reproduce, and they've made like a whatever, half cow, half pig, and like it works. I mean, a dang female host burst that thing. That's weird.
Buddy, we getting into some Genesis 6 stuff right now.
I'm serious. I mean, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is just a pig, like, and it ain't, but it's weird, man. And then they're doing it with humans and monkeys and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
But that biological part of it, like, that's not AI. That's biological.
Yeah. And that's creepy.
Superhuman.
Like said,
and they flat out do not talk about that.
This is a lot bigger than squirrel hunting. This is way bigger.
It definitely ain't bigger.
No,
than
it ain't.
squirrel
All this has already happened before. I mean, did you not read when the sons of God came and laid with the human women and produced a hybrid offspring
That's strange.
That was a what do you call it? Like a biological, whatever, different. All this has already happened. But we know what happened last time it happened by the biblical account. When humanity, as God created it, had become corrupted, God destroyed the earth. We know what happened. This has all done happened before, man.
It's very cyclical.
Yeah. I just
squirrel hunting.
I just think that
not to drone on and on about that stuff, but it's just odd what's discussed and what's not.
Yeah.
Is my point. I mean, I don't.
Imagine if you had your little human pig.
That's what now,
as a pet.
Yeah, folks need to be talking about that and saying, "Hey, we ain't putting up with that."
Because I also don't, because
There ain't no need.
like
in that.
it's proven that when we say there's bioweapons labs in Wuhan, that there's also them in North Carolina
Oh, absolutely.
and Austin, Texas. Like that, they're there, and we just act like they're not. And Washington, in the state of Washington, the experiments going on with the psychedelic drugs and everything that we act like's not here. I mean, that is here. So
We just ain't quite as smart as them Chinamen.
What
Them
wasn't
Chinamen
long
are
ago,
advanced.
a couple months, they lost a bunch of like deadly viruses,
yeah,
like 18 vials or
Yeah.
something. Or
That's USPS, man.
yeah, probably so. Or that winter storm hit.
all I'm saying is like when you think life is good under Trump or whoever's president, like the fact that it's known that there's human animal hybrids that they're working on and bioweapons labs in the U.S. that are doing the exact same gain of function research that supposedly caused the crisis in 2020, and we don't talk about that at all. I mean, you're being distracted.
But don't you think that those sort of experiments, I mean, they had to have started decades ago for them to be
A
to the
long
point they
time
are now.
ago.
Because I mean,
A
what
long
was it?
time ago.
Wasn't even Nazi Germany like? I imagine that they were. I mean, I know they were doing some weird. I mean, not to this level because they didn't have the technology to apply.
Well, that's a matter of debate.
Well,
when you look at certain,
There was a reason after the Allies won, we went over there and got all of their scientists.
Yeah,
And brought them over here
Freaking-
and put them to work.
and NASA.
Yeah, and pardoned a bunch of them to not even have to go on trial and everything. Say, you ain't going on trial, but you living over here now, and you going to tell us what you know.
Yeah,
You
Werner
gonna-
von Braun worked
you
for
gonna-
freaking NASA.
Yeah, you going to hook us up.
How much of this do you think is like demonic, or like how much of this do you think any portion of this knowledge is like coming from the evil spiritual realm and being passed along to humanity? Like, do you think that could possibly be going on, or do you think
I
this is-
definitely don't doubt it.
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my tendency is to say no, but you think yes?
Yeah, and I don't really have anything. Me thinking in my mind like how diabolical and just odd and creepy and just unnormal that any of that is. I don't see how it couldn't be.
Right.
Influence somewhere down the line, or even
Well,
directly.
this is man playing God.
Yeah.
This is man trying to become God, is
Right.
what it is. So I have to believe there's some sort of demonic
Well,
spiritual
there's evidence
influence.
that there is.
Because the first, okay, I want to hear that. Think about what you're going to say. This has been the thing throughout all time. When God cursed humanity, it was because man wanted to be God. When God destroyed the earth, it was because man had been corrupted and had become like a god. There's just examples of it all throughout human history. It's like every time man wants to advance to become God, the true God shuts it down. So, Chili, you said there's evidence of demonic influence or spiritual realm, or
Yeah, I said my tendency would be to say no.
Right.
But like that's overcome by the reality of it. Like I guess my tendency is to just be like, well, surely not. But you have to deny evidence to say that that's not what is happening. I don't understand how it works, but the best way to explain this is so how you know about this, how the general public would know about this is just simply listen to dang Joe Rogan or Aaron Rodgers talk about ayahuasca and doing DMT. Like those experiments in Washington, Bill Gates funded experiments in Washington that I was talking about. There's scientists there, and then group subjects that undergo group psychedelic experiences. And they're using those compounds like DMT and ayahuasca. And I can't tell you what these people see when they're doing that. I've never even, I ain't smoked a cigarette. I don't, let alone any kind of drug. Like, I don't know what none of that's talking about. But all I can do is listen to their accounts, and it gives me great pause when people in a group setting have the exact same experience on those drugs. That doesn't happen. Like that the only way you do that is if you tap into some kind of a realm.
And I think that they all would agree with you. Yes, we are tapping into a different realm.
If we all in this room got drunk right now and started and high and whatever and started having weird hallucinations, even, and whatever, we would see different things because we've lived different lives. We would have memories of our past and what our own thoughts are. They have the exact same visions and the exact same communication with something. They see the same little thing that they say they're talking to, and they come out with the same message from it. That is tapping into something. I mean, it's just like, how do you even argue that it's not? That's impossible for that to happen, to have the same, it was just a hallucination. Well, not if it was the exact same thing. It's the same evidence that's when you talk about the daggum resurrection and the witnesses of Jesus after he was crucified and rose again. People say, well, those witnesses must have all, they like, that couldn't have happened. They just had to have made that up in their head, or it was a hallucination. No, you don't have a group hallucination. They all agreed on the same account. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, for
like
sure.
they saw him. That's why they have the same story. Like, if it was a hallucination, you literally couldn't match it up if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Literally the same with this. It's the same argument on why I believe that this is tapping into a spiritual realm, because they are communicating with the same thing. And it is known. You don't have to theorize either that they're doing that for the purposes of technology and knowledge. That is what they're going in seeking, and then they come out with it. So, yeah, I don't believe that the technological advancements that we've gotten to this point are because we've gotten here without the help of demonic influence. Yeah. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it literally has had to have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the question, or another question, would be: does anything happen that's not of God or of Satan?
Well, yeah, I don't know how
is there anything that just happens and you say, "Oh, that wasn't."
Well, I mean, like man invents the wheel, or like.
It's like there's different levels of that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, nothing happens without God.
Somebody came up with cardboard, like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But you invoked the Nazis too, and they had. You say we're a lot more advanced now than we were then. I mean, they were doing the same thing, and wrote about it, and they came out with some stuff, and a lot of that's been lost, hidden.
Yeah,
seized
destroyed,
seized by the U.S. government in Operation Paperclip when we took those Nazis over here and used it for NASA and like just buried the rest. I mean, it's
somebody just put a bunch of paper clips in the super chat.
Yeah,
the Russians got some of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh well, yeah, that was kind of we didn't get all of them.
Right,
we got what we could get, and then Russia took some. And
right.
I can already.
I mean, NASA is not a space exploration.
No,
whatever you want to call it.
Well, it sure is.
They just shoot stuff up there for a hobby.
That's not what NASA's doing.
I can already envision a society or a time when, if you choose not to tap into this other realm by the use of these drugs or by the implantation of some sort of AI device or something, I can visualize a time when, if you choose not to do those things, you'll be left behind.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I really can. Like,
you'll be left behind one way or the other. I mean, you'll be left behind by force,
Like-
if you don't, but also just you would be left behind.
Yeah, like, yeah, I can visualize that, and that's another thing that not only have we seen the rise of AI, but almost simultaneously we have seen the rise of the use of these psychedelic drugs, and we see the biggest voices. We see the people who have the biggest voices advocating for the use of these psychedelic drugs for the purposes of healing and knowledge and enlightenment. Is it not strange that the rise of those two things coincide with each other, and that the biggest voices on the earth are advocating for the use of those substances?
But not, it is interesting. The advocation for them is not really to the point where they're encouraging all of the public to do it.
No, but it has to happen slow.
Exactly.
It's become normalized.
Yeah, you have to normalize it
The
first.
use of psychedelics is borderline been normalized now.
Exactly.
But us old dinosaurs, you know what those do you know how opposed to this conversation those individuals who advocate for the use of those drugs, how opposed they would be to our viewpoint? Like, we're just a bunch of dinosaurs. Like, you don't want this experience, you don't want this knowledge, you're just a fool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it has become borderline normalized. I have never bought into it. I have many friends that have went and undergone psychedelic treatments for the treatment of their, PTSDs and all this stuff. And I've always just looked at them and thought, buddy, you messing with something that ain't going to, it won't do anything but ultimately destroy you.
Right.
I've always looked at it that way, man. And I've talked to a bunch of people too. I talked to Chad Robichaux about this the other day. I said, where do you stand on this psychedelic treatment and stuff? And I think he feels very similar to me. And a lot of times, whatever people think they get out of these treatments, at least veterans anyways, it's very short-lived. And they end up just as bad or worse off than they were, a few months down the road. And then what they end up having to do is microdose these psychedelics. And they end up doing that the rest of their life. It's not good, man. It is weird how those two things are coinciding with each other, though.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Chili. If you don't want to say anything else on the podcast, you don't have to. You did your job today.
That's the news.
You brought me right up to speed on gave me the full picture of everything,
Well, did you hear that Trump said that the drones were no big deal? Remember that drone scare? You remember?
Yeah, in New Jersey and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, they had a press meeting, and they said that was okay.
Must have been.
Yeah, that was
the
no big
king
deal.
has spoken.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, they said that was no big deal. They said that was just some routine testing that the government was doing. They were aware of them, and they were just running some tests.
There you go.
There you go, man.
Well, you act like that's a lie or something.
Finally got the truth.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
said they were not foreign. They were all accounted for, and
Trump can't lie.
You got to test your drones, man.
He's not a politician.
That's right.
You got to test your drones.
Yeah. you do, Corn.
Yeah,
How you know they work?
how you know if the camera works if you don't fly it up there?
That's right.
Before he got elected, wasn't he kind of encouraging people to shoot him, though? He wasn't privy to the information until he got elected.
He wasn't up to speed on what the truth
Yeah,
was.
well, he said he was, actually. If you notice, 3 weeks before he was inaugurated, he said, I know what the drones are, but we can't talk about it yet. I'll talk about it once I'm in. He said, they're lying to you about what they are. The government won't tell you what these drones are, but I'm going to tell you when we get in. And he did. He delivered.
Well, the Biden administration never really come out and said that they were government drones, right?
No, they never said anything.
Right.
They said we don't know what they are.
So it was easy for Big Daddy Trump to say, hey, they're ours.
It's all good.
We're just testing them out.
Drone, baby, drone.
Right.
Well, before we proceed, I know Cornbread's got some good stuff for us. This episode is brought to you by our partners at Barbell Apparel. Check them out at barbellapparel.com. Chili asked me earlier, what's your favorite product from Barbell? It's tough to say, but this ultralight tank top that I got here under my wool jacket is very high on the list, all right? So this is the ultralight tech tee or tank top that you can get. I've been wearing these for a long, long time. It is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's an ultralight, breathable fabric that keeps you nice and cool. It's a nice base layer to wear underneath a jacket or something like that. Doesn't really make you sweat. It just breathes well. It doesn't get stinky and nasty super quick like the old dude. I remember when Under Armour came out with the first tech materials, and you would do like one workout in that shirt, and it would stink so bad you couldn't wear it again. That's what I had in the military, is an Under Armour. You know, that's what we were issued, and they were terrible. All right? So Barbell Ultralight Tech Tee is one of my favorite pieces of apparel that they make. Chili's got the 1 Mile Out edition right there. I think that's an Ultralight Tech Tee version too. But they got everything: jeans, flannels, joggers, shorts, all kinds of different variants and versions. So check them out at barbellapparel.com. They've been a partner with us here at 37 Project for a long, long time, and they're awesome people. They also stand behind their product with a lifetime guarantee. So it's good stuff. You won't be disappointed if you get anything out of the show. One of the ways that you can give back is by supporting these companies like Barbell, who make all of this happen. Between our partners and our Patreon members, that's why we get to sit down and have these conversations. So thank you, Barbell Apparel. CB, I know you had what was going on with DNR, man?
Oh, yeah. And local news. So prior to January the 22nd, Georgia and Florida were the only two states in the continental United States that hasn't had a case of CWD in white-tailed deer. Well, January the 3rd, they released a statement saying that a white-tailed deer in Lanier County, Georgia, had tested positive for CWD.
I saw that Ted Nugent said that CWD was a hoax.
Oh, he'll pitch a fit about it. He does not agree with CWD at all.
Yeah, he says it's a hoax. He says they're killing hundreds of thousands of deers or something under the guise of CWD.
Yeah.
I legitimately, without knowing whatever, I've wondered what makes chronic wasting disease. Like, what is that? When they say they have it, what do they have?
So it's a protein. What do they call when a protein folds incorrectly inside your brain? A prion.
Oh yeah.
In the deer, so it can get in elk, moose, and whitetail. All those. I'm not sure if it
can't get into any antler game.
I would think it could get into mule deer.
As long as it can't get into a squirrel, I'm good.
So it gets
you start talking about squirrel wasting disease, I'm about to get upset.
A squirrel is a prion.
So it infects their brain and they get sick. But the thing about it is they can live over 2 years with it, possibly. But yet it says they will die of that sooner or later. But it just makes them sickly. They don't want to eat.
And is it contagious?
They allow that it sheds.
I've seen a deer that looked like it had it. I don't know if it did or not.
They allow that those proteins shed into the ground and that they can't be killed by cold, wet, heat, or anything that the earth does. And so when another said deer comes up and is like, oh, check out this white oak, and it's got some of that shedded protein on it, then it contracts it. And so I don't know why they I guess they kill those amount of deer to try to keep them from spreading it throughout the ground as they walk. I don't know. But yeah.
But that's never going to stop if it can spread like that.
Exactly. it's first started in 1960 in Colorado. So
yeah, like
it's been
exactly.
out
How does
forever.
that start?
This sounds like another thing that was created in a lab.
Yeah. Since 1960, it's had that many years, and it just now got to Georgia, and it's supposed to be this unstoppable force that sheds and gets in the ground.
Is it in Florida yet?
Florida's the only state that doesn't have it.
Well, we just got the truth on here. Some guy named Treen Scott,
Yeah,
he said CWD is a myth.
there you go. And he knows. He definitely knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Treen Walker Scott?
that's him.
I mean, don't they have like pictures of deer with this CWD and
Yeah,
stuff? Like
yeah.
how is it a myth? I mean, what are they? Are they just like taking pictures of a deer that's got worms and calling it CWD?
Well, like no
or-
kidding. In a park, state park, where there's deer everywhere, I saw one that, I mean, it looked sickly. And
might have hookworms. It might look like that squirrel dog we was hunting with this
I
past
thought
weekend.
of that. I thought, does it have that or whatever? But it could just be sick.
Yeah,
It could just be anything.
Animals get sick just like
It just look.
humans
It's
do.
it's
Yeah.
dang.
just
back
just
look-
like humans do.
We need
Nasty.
Tree and Scott on this daggone podcast to explain to us his logic, that because he's obviously using the same logic that has brought
Ted.
Ted to the conclusion that he's come to.
Yeah, Ted's got a lot of good evidence stating that it is fake. I can't really articulate on it when I seen him.
So
talking
then,
about
what
it
do
with
the
some-
deer have that they? What do they actually have when they say they have CWD?
Hookworms.
Probably,
Worms?
moose can get. I think it's roundworm or something in their brain,
Yeah.
and they'll just stand there and turn a circle.
Oh, yeah.
until they die.
I have seen
Just
that.
stand there and turn a circle.
Well, so can other antlered game can't get it?
I'm not sure. I do know elk, moose, and whitetails.
Well, then
can get it.
surely mule deer
I would
and
ass-
blacktail deer and
I would assume, yeah.
caribou.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a goat. So
It
what?
says deer, elk, moose, and reindeer.
Okay.
Why is that it?
And it says humans can't get it.
Yeah. So does this have any effect on humanity other than the deer population might get wiped off the face of the earth?
Which would make the insurance companies happy.
What if
Yeah.
you eat a deer with chronic wasting
It
disease?
says you can't get it, but the DNR suggests
Don't.
you have any deer that you harvest that you suspect may have it, call them up so they can come test it for you.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I would have to be a hungry son of a gun to eat a deer that looked sick.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
I mean, I would have to be a hungry son of a gun because
I totally agree.
I mean, I've got to be right hungry to eat a healthy deer.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
the fear is probably that you would eat one that is not showing signs yet
yeah.
that might have contracted it.
Oh, I'll have
But
a,
it said
I'll have a
humans can't get it,
savage
right?
feast
What's that?
on a healthy deer. I have a savage feast on one, son.
Well, CB, how do you sum up our squirrel hunting experience, man?
It was big, dude. It was real big. We got to see a lot of different dogs work.
I was wondering if y'all were going to tell these stories. I mean, you got to.
I mean, we can't tell all the stories because some people that are involved with the hunt might be listening.
Richard's already listening.
Yeah, Richard's listening. Which, by the way, Richard is a squirrel hunting legend.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, this joker, he knew what was going on all the time.
Yeah.
Now he ain't fitting to walk far,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna tell you right now, he will sit back and he will tell you where the squirrel is, what dogs. One of the times we had two dogs, and they were split. Both of them were treeing, maybe 50 yards apart. And he said, that dog's got the squirrel. We thought he was crazy. We walked down there, and sure enough, a son of a gun had the squirrel, and the other one didn't.
Sure did. Richard gave the play-by-play the whole time.
You need a spot, man.
He's been doing it all his life, I think.
Yeah.
Richard has been. That's what he does. He said, I'm a hunter. I don't care nothing about training dogs, selling dogs. The dog he has right now, He said a man offered him $10,000 for it the other day. He turned him down. He said, I need the dog more than I need the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was big. Me and Cornbread, we set aside the last 2 days, and all we did was squirrel hunt.
Yeah. We walked 8.7 miles yesterday.
Dang.
Dude, so yesterday I felt it in my legs. I was like, daggone, my legs are tired. Because I ran at lunch, too.
Oh,
I did
you?
a 4-mile run at lunch. And I got done. I was wore out. Well, Blake, what you got to figure is, we might not have covered but 8 miles, but we were also on our feet pretty much all day.
That's hard miles.
You know what I mean? In them mountains.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? But, man, this squirrel hunting, it just don't get no better in my opinion.
No, it's big.
It has, to me, look, me and Cornbread are old coon hunters. But I personally like these little dogs more than I ever enjoyed a hound. Me personally,
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, a hound has some attributes. You know, they got a lot of drive. They'll go and they got some cool things about them. But it's like these little squirrel dogs. They just got so much more sense about them.
Yeah, they do. They have more personality.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about this morning.
Yeah.
I want a dog with some personality. They have more personality. Absolutely. A hound most of the time don't give a fat rat about you.
Mm-mm.
All it wants to do is tree that coon.
It's got a one-track mind.
That's it. If it's a good one,
Yeah.
it's just going to go on and it ain't going to worry about you. It'll say, I'll see you in 3 miles or 6 miles, whatever it does. That squirrel dog, them squirrel dogs that we hunted with, you could tell they was wanting to do their job for you because they was staying with us the whole time,
Yeah.
whether we was road hunting in the truck or on foot. Yeah, that's what I enjoyed about
I
it.
would be remiss if I didn't tell the story of the first fox squirrel that I've ever killed. Of all the hunting I've done, I've seen many fox squirrels in the woods, but this is the first one I've ever killed. We're road hunting. Now, road hunting, I did not think this was going to work because I've never done it before. I don't know what you were thinking when we first started doing that, but I thought this ain't going to work. We get on the fire road. It's just a big 2-track gravel road. Well, we just turn the dogs loose and we just start riding down the road in the trucks. And the dogs are just running out in front of the trucks, just right down the middle of the road. And all of a sudden, they'll just, boom, just drop off the road and tree one. It's like they just run the road until they happen to glance one off the side or whatever. And it worked. And was the fox squirrel the first squirrel we killed?
That was the first
That
one.
was the first one we killed. Yeah, we was road hunting. Kevin told me that dog had barked before I saw that squirrel. Had that dog barked? Because I never heard the dog bark.
It's hard to hear in that diesel.
Well, that diesel's loud.
So if he did, if we didn't hear it, it was because of the diesel.
Yeah, because I never heard a dog bark, but we had stopped, and I got out of the truck, and I looked over there, and I saw about 50, 60 yards down there in the woods, all I saw was a big old 5-pound fox squirrel just swan dive out of the top of a tree from about 30 foot.
Yeah.
Just, he looked like one of them people in a wingsuit. Just come down like this, boom, hit the ground. And I screamed out in that moment, look at that fox squirrel.
That's exactly what he done. He did like the what's next scream. Remember the what's next scream? Look at that fox squirrel.
Well, it makes sense. He was probably irritated at something.
Dude, it put me on fire.
Yeah.
And then old Junior, he got on him. He trailed him on down there. and we knocked him out. And I'm talking about this was a 5-pounder.
Yeah, he was a big old
There you
glob,
go,
son.
5-pound fox squirrel. Red, orange, black face with a white nose.
Yeah,
Pretty big.
there's a female too. And it probably because we killed that, and unbeknownst to us, it being a female, it probably killed about 6 other squirrels too, because they'd been wearing them teats out.
Yeah, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It had baby fox squirrel somewhere.
Yeah.
You know. Do you think? Do you? I mean, when you hunt as hard as I'm hunting, you could probably put a hurting on the squirrel population.
Oh yeah, if you kept hunting the
Same
same
spot.
place,
Same
yeah,
area.
I guarantee you, especially right now, when they're milking their babies.
So they don't care about that, huh?
Well, no, these boys we was hunting with, they travel all over.
No, not them. I meant like the DNR. They don't care about you.
No, they don't give. I mean, it's 12 a day per
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And it's August to February.
Middle August to the end of February.
Yeah, it's a long season.
It is.
But I'm gonna tell you what, man. If y'all like to hunt, y'all listening, I highly recommend squirrel hunting.
Yeah.
I went this morning. I killed 2 squirrel this morning. Saw 3, killed 2,
3 5.
2 squirrel.
made 2 den trees.
Yeah, and you was late.
You were late.
You was late because you.
Well,
did
that dog got treed back in there. I was on my way back there. Y'all saw the text.
You can tell he woke up late. Look at his hair.
Y'all saw the text. I was on the way to the house, and that dog fell treed back in there behind that buddy stand. And look, I ain't calling a dog off a tree.
No, you can't do it, especially a pup. Like
I'm
that.
going to the
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah, you have to.
And that squirrel, she was treed in a little old tree, wasn't much bigger than that cup right there, and had a bunch of vines going up in it. I didn't see the squirrel, but you know, when you're squirrel hunting by yourself, look, that squirrel, as you're looking up and trying to find that squirrel, and you move around the tree, that squirrel will do this. He'll just shift. Every time you take a step, he'll move, and he'll stay on the back side of that tree. And I didn't see the squirrel up there, but there was a vine running up there. That last one I killed, and I shook that vine, and that squirrel, he was probably a 2-pound squirrel. He come flying, it was a gray, out of that tree, through the air, and hit them pines. Well, Wendy, mine and Corn's dog, saw that squirrel hit them pines, and, buddy, she timbered it for probably 50 yards from pine to pine to pine, and finally it stopped. My gun jammed because I had these shells that are like
Wet.
they ain't no telling how old they are. They had a bunch of corrosion on them that my shells wouldn't go out. I finally got a darn shot in the gun and pow, shot that thing out. That was it.
Did you like that part of the hunt this morning, Corn?
Yeah, I didn't get invited to that hunt.
Oh, he didn't tell you he was going?
Didn't invite
Look,
me.
I am
No.
squirrel
He
hunting.
said that was both of y'all's dog.
I'm squirrel hunting every day
That's
from now
weird.
to the end of season.
I knew
Every
he was-
day.
I knew
You
he
need to
was
let
gonna-
Corn take him in the
Didn't you?
afternoon. Take her.
He said he was a selfish gnat, and he showed it this morning.
Yeah.
I
A
knew
white
he was going to be
selfish gnat.
stingy with this dog.
Selfish white gnat.
Yeah.
He's being greedy with it.
I thought there for a minute, Shirley, I was gonna get back into running. That all went out the window.
I knew it. I knew it.
I'm squirrel hunting every day, morning and evening, until the last day of the season.
Hey, he did 8 miles the other day, boy. He felt it. I mean,
No, I've ran 4 and hiked 8 behind
Hey,
them high-powered squirrel dogs.
8.7.
he did 12.7 miles the other day, boy. And
Yeah.
he knew it.
Serious.
Let me tell y'all about this other squirrel that we killed, and then we're gonna move on to Patreon question. That story I started to tell y'all earlier when them 2 dogs was split, and Richard and Kevin said that dog right there's got the squirrel. That was mine and Cornbread's dog.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
mine and Cornbread's dog. So they said, walk down there and see what that dog's got. Me and Cornbread and Brooke are walking in on this dog, right? And we're looking all up in the trees, you know. And I just happened to look down at something. And that squirrel was sitting on the side of that big poplar tree about 8 foot off the ground.
Wow. Touch it.
I could, it was like perfect silhouette right there. And I I told them, I said, I got the squirrel.
And that's what he did.
And they stopped because I just knew that squirrel
There
was
he
going to
is.
hear me or see me.
There
And
he goes.
he was going to do this around the other side, and I wasn't going to have a shot. But that was so wild, man. That squirrel was right there, 8 foot off the ground. I drew down on it. Bah! Fell right on the ground.
He did.
I don't miss. Tell him about that long shot.
Now, he took a long one.
100 yards or more.
Whoa.
It was really long for a shotgun. I thought to myself, and this squirrel was moving, I said, there's no way he's going to hit that squirrel. I bet it was probably 70
It
yards.
was 100. Yeah. I went back
100.
and ranged it after.
It was probably
you didn't.
70 yards, and he hit that booger. And I thought to myself, there's no way he's going to hit that. And he shot, and that thing said, ooh. But you
Hey, Corn ain't killed a squirrel yet.
I took
He
one.
ain't killed a squirrel yet.
The whole hunt, both days, 2 days, I shot at one squirrel.
Missed.
At about 50 yards, he was moving through the timber, and I clearly missed him. But then after I shot, he took a dang nose dive on the side of Taylor's Ridge right there, like, yeah.
They'll bail out of them trees, man.
Sure did. I said, Dad, bum, son. But you're right about that road hunting. I figured we was going to be walking the road.
Yeah.
And letting the dogs, stay close to us. But we let them dogs out, and they stayed in front of the truck a good ways. And, you riding, 5-10 mile an hour?
Yeah.
And I'm talking, them dogs is just humping it. Where we was at. It's uphill the whole way.
Yeah.
Just never. I thought you wear a dog out, son.
Doing that.
There was one dog that was getting over a hookworm infection.
Yeah.
And I remember after about 2 hours that he come waddling down there to me. He's like, I said, Bubba, I know I rode a bike up this thing one time. I feel bad for you, dude.
So you shot that fox squirrel?
I shot all of the
He
squirrels.
killed all the squirrels.
I literally have killed every squirrel that has been killed in the last 3 days.
But look,
Wow.
I was being the post. I was staying
gotcha.
still.
Yeah.
So the squirrel, he would work the tree.
Right.
I didn't have the shooting job.
Right.
He was the mover. Yeah, I was the post.
he can't shoot. Let me tell you. Hey, look. We made one tree. I got
Listen, Chili.
I got to the tree, and I done found the squirrel, and here come Cornbread's tail humping it up the hill behind me. And I looked at him, and I realized I was out of shells. And I said, Cornbread, give me your gun. And then I just thought, well, I probably ought to let him shoot it instead of asking. And I said, or you just shoot the squirrel. But by the time he got up to me, I found 2 more shells in my pocket and just killed the squirrel. Wow. I'm talking about I am deadly on them squirrels, boy.
Selfish.
I kill them big squirrels too, 2-3 pound gray squirrels.
Are you gonna mount that fox squirrel?
No. Oh, that's disrespectful.
They ain't many of them with a solid jet black face like that.
Well, Cornbread, that squirrel been laying in the truck for 3 days now.
Well, it's all right. You can still mount it.
No, I ain't gonna mount that
The meat don't make a lick. They're gonna use the hide. As long as the hair ain't falling out of it, you can mount it.
Yeah, I probably won't.
Well, don't be killing them if you ain't gonna eat them or mount them.
Well, I'm gonna start eating them. I got me a new pocket knife today just to skin squirrels with. That's what I got to skin squirrels with.
Spyderco.
Yeah,
That's light, ain't
I needed a nice thin blade with a sharp point. Cause if you can't
light.
skin a squirrel, with a big old thick blade. So you're going to have to show me how to cook them, Corn, because I ain't never done nothing but fry a squirrel.
That's all I've ever done is fry them.
So
Yeah, that's all I've ever done.
we need to learn how to make taco meat, make squirrel and dumplings, all that. If y'all got a good squirrel recipe, put it in the comments because I need to know how to cook these things.
I led Austin and G, my 2 nephews, a couple years ago. We went squirrel hunting, killed a couple. I let them cook it on the grill, and they didn't get that booger done. And G ended up at the dang hospital with a parasite.
Exactly.
And
They're nasty.
I went out there,
Rats.
and the dang meat that was close up to the spinal cord was just as red as a watermelon.
Oh man.
Dang rats.
Yeah.
Prion.
Well, and you got to get, there's glands in them too. You got to get out. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I ain't never messed with no glands.
Yeah, there's a very important gland in the back legs that you have to remove.
Oh, I've always just cooked all the back leg.
Yeah, you got to.
Oh, that's why my testosterone's high.
What we got from Patreon today?
This question here is coming from the 307 American and Foreigner of the Year, Mr. Lane Availed.
Okay,
I'll
yeah.
be darned, huh? Welcome, Lane. Welcome to the show.
Lane says, I'm asking, how do each one of you seek contentment in where God has placed you in life? And how do you do this while not growing complacent and still be pressing forward, taking initiative, and seeking more growth, responsibility, and opportunity?
Man, that's a big question.
That is.
I get what he's saying though. Like how do you enjoy contentment, that the contentment that we have in Christ, but not at the same time become complacent?
Right.
You know, I think we've had that conversation a lot, even about like current events, you know, because we've talked about, well, since we know the end, how things are going to end, well, why should you even care about anything then? You know what I mean? How do you not become, I think Chili used the word
apathetic,
or what do they say, nihilistic?
Oh yeah.
You know? So it's a great question. I think the contentment that I experience in Christ is not so much pertaining to the things of this world, like everyday acts, like work and stuff like that. Like I want 307 Project to grow. Like I want things to continue to grow. I want to keep having purpose. I want to keep finding new things. I want to keep growing as an individual. Like the contentment that we have in Christ is in the knowledge of, one, we've been saved by Him. The contentment is in the knowledge that we have eternal life through Him, that we've been forgiven for our mistakes. The contentment of knowing and experiencing a relationship with our Father in heaven and experiencing His perfect love with which He loves us. So it's that's the contentment that I have. Like I'm not content with where we are at work. I'm not content with where I am personally in my own, journey. Like I'm not content with my understanding of Scripture or any of that. But I am at peace in knowing that I'm saved, I'm justified, I have eternal life through Christ, and and I'm known by my Father in heaven whom loves me. Like that's the contentment part of it. You know what I mean? And you can't really grow complacent in that. I mean, those are just facts that are revealed to you by the Holy Spirit. I mean, when your God tells you you are completely justified by your faith in Christ, and you have an inheritance in heaven, and that you're mine, I know you and I love you perfectly, well, there's nothing you can add to that, and there's nothing you can take away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my answer to that. I don't know what you guys have.
Well, like you said, we've had a lot of I'd say we've talked about complacency on the podcast before, but we've kind of had personal discussions just amongst us, not on podcast, about that too. And this makes sense in my head, so it probably won't to anybody else whenever I articulate this. But the way Lane asked that question, I have to break it down on kind of like a timeline. So he asked, how do you seek contentment in where God has placed you, but not become complacent and not, stop pressing forward and looking for growth opportunities? Maybe this is not really answering how I'm content, because I just kind of am. I'm content. I find myself content with where I'm at up to this point. So I look at it in a timeline in the perspective of, I can't change any of the past. And I struggle with it. I do worry about the past sometimes, but I need to overcome that. But I can't change the past at all. And where I'm at now is a result of everything that's happened before this. And whether you have a hard time with it or not, you kind of have to be content with that, because you can't change it. But I ask myself, like, would I be content if everything's exactly the same as it is 5 years from now? Well, no. But how could I be content with it now if I wouldn't be content with it then? Well, it's because I've got more time.
Yeah.
I've got those 5 years now. I can't get anything else that's already been spent back, so I am content with where I'm at now. But if I'm not, any better in any area of my life in 5 years from now, then that means I've wasted 5 years and become complacent. So I think you can be totally content with where you're at now, yet completely unsatisfied with where you're at now and how you're doing as a person, or your mind, body, and spirit, like all of it. You can be, that could look like discontentment, but I don't really think it is. I think trying to strive for more may look like you're not content with your current.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's not that to me.
Yeah.
It's not being satisfied, but with staying there, but you can still be content with where you're at with the time you've had up to this point. I don't know. Like I said, it won't ever make sense how it does in my head when I say it.
I mean, you like. I mean, I can relate to you. I can relate to you in terms of, I'm thankful for everything in my past, good, bad, and ugly, because it's led me to where I am and who I am today.
Yeah.
And I love that. And yes, I'm content with that. And I wouldn't want it to be any different.
But you can't stay here.
But I still desire continual growth.
Yeah.
Each day. If the Lord gives me a day and He gives me life in that day, then yes, I'm still desiring growth. To His glory, you know what I mean? And to the furtherance of His kingdom, and that makes total sense to me. What about you, CB?
Yeah, that's for me, like what you just said, that, if I wake up today, then this is where I am. This is where God's put me. I'm at peace with that and content with that. And I've sort of learned, and we've talked about it a little bit here recently on the podcast, that like when things get easy, or I perceive them as being easy, that's my warning that I'm being complacent, that I'm about to start possibly trying to manufacture some stuff for me to have to work and strive and to fight through. So I'm glad he asked that question, because I need in my head to process that, hey, I'm seeing the warning signs of me getting complacent in those days. Wake up today, oh, today's real easy, I ain't got much to do. Well, you're probably not taking enough initiative. You're probably not looking at what you can be doing better, whether it's at work or serving your family, your wife, or a friend, and you're about to start trying to, make up something for you to fight through. So
man, that's good stuff, Cornbread. That's good stuff. And me and Cornbread even had some talks along those lines while we were out doing the road hunting. That was probably my favorite thing about squirrel hunting this weekend was the fellowship part. And we were having talks about that, work stuff and initiative and how to kind of break things down and instead of getting overwhelmed thinking about where can you add value And that's not only in work, like Cornbread said, that applies to initiative applies to relationships with people, relationship with Christ, work, all these areas of your life. Yeah. So that's good word, Cornbread. That's you, Blake.
I think
the best of the bunch right there. Look at him.
I think contentment and satisfaction, I think of those two words not like different, So I think that if the question you ask yourself is, am I doing what God wants me to do? Like, do I feel like I'm connected with God? I'm, doing this thing that He wants me to do. And if you say yes to that, how could you not be content knowing that you're living in the plan that the Creator of all things has designed for you? And so you have to be like, that should just bring contentment through the roof. But then to know that you are human and not perfect, and you're not satisfied with where you're at, and that the standard is perfection, and that's what you want to strive for. So every day you're not going to be there, so what should tell you should try to do something to be closer. We say better, get better every day, but really the answer to what is better is closer to God. That's it. And you say, well, why do you do things if you know what the end is? And that goes back to the conversation of, why do you pray? Why do you fast? Why do you share the gospel? Why do you do any of these things you do? Some things we do for a result, right? But the things that God commands us to do, we shouldn't be doing them for a result. It will yield a result, but we should do them because God commands us to do them. So that's why we do things when we know we can't achieve it. We're not doing it for the result of the achievement. We're doing it because God commands us to do it. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to be content in where we're at if we know that we're walking in what God's called us to. But we shouldn't be satisfied in that because we know that we're not perfect because we're humans.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the, striving for more, the long list of things. How do you still seek those things? That's why you should be driven to get those.
Yeah, I even look. It reminds me of a verse I shared from Resurrected, which, by the way, I need to post that. Resurrected this past Sunday. I pulled a verse. I think it was out of Philippians, where the Apostle Paul said, by inspiration of the Holy Spirit, like, one thing I do is I don't look into the past, and I look forward in the direction that I'm going. In this mission that I've been set on. I obviously that's not a word for word quote, but what you're saying reminds me of that. Yeah. It was wonderful. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Lane, for the Patreon question. That was a good question, man. Chili, thank you for getting me up to speed on what's happening in the scheme of the earth. Yeah, Blake's going to hit super chats.
Yeah.
I had the best prayer this morning while I was out squirrel hunting too, man. This squirrel hunting changed my life, man.
It's big. Son.
I am wondering, is this going to be a hobby that gets you skinny or fat? Because running got you in shape, weightlifting kind of got you in shape, biking made you fat, and then when you train real hard for the tactical games, that kind of made you fat. So is this going to be
squirrel hunting's going to be a skinny sport.
Okay.
You get poor as a snake. You don't eat. You just chewing on an old dirty squirrel.
Okay.
Yeah, any squirrel hunter I've seen, they've been.
Yeah, squirrel. They ain't no fat. Real squirrel hunters ain't no fat squirrel hunters.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Wormy.
Well, we had Untrue Lies come in at $10. Mentioned y'all on my podcast and put a link to y'all on my page. Great stuff.
Man, I appreciate that, brother.
Thank you.
Untrue Lies.
Untrue
Yep,
Lies.
he come back in at $5 and said Corn's new name, Maize Bread.
Maize bread.
Maize.
Well, Kevin.
Yeah, Maize Man.
There you go.
Yeah, Kevin and Richard were calling him Corn Man, and then they were calling him Esquire.
Oh, yeah.
All weekend.
That's his middle name.
Yeah.
They were calling him Corn Man and Esquire.
The third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Untrue Lies. I'm assuming your podcast is called Untrue Lies, but I would like to listen to your show, man. So if it's called something different than Untrue Lies, if you're still listening, drop it in the comments. Or if you listen later, drop it in the comments because I want to listen to your show, man.
We had Chad Bennett come in at $20. Listening from Mackinac Island, Michigan, Semper Fi. Y'all got to come visit us in the summer as long as Chili brings Chili Jr.
There you go.
Mackinac Island, Michigan. I'll tell you what, Chad. You set me up a squirrel hunt up there. We'll make the trip.
I think they got nothing but red squirrels
That's
up there.
fine.
Wow.
You set me up a squirrel hunt.
Little pine
He
squirrels.
said as long as Chili brings Chili Jr. and that, y'all been talking about.
Well, just offered him $20,000 to have a kid. Surely to goodness he's going to take that deal.
Yeah.
You got to go up.
That's screwed up, man.
We had Chris Jolly come in at $50.
Good night.
More-
Dang, Chris.
More tariffs, less taxes, so I can have more of my money to come do more training at 307 Project and have more cash to bribe that hat from CB.
And he wants that hat.
You know what? He ordered something the other day, and Chris, I started to send you this exact hat.
Maybe the next order.
I started to send it to
No,
him.
don't say that. He ain't
Dang,
going to.
son.
Corn ain't coming off of that.
I don't know, man. He's a man of service.
Well, I thought to myself, would somebody really wear this hat that I've done
he'd
sweat
wear it.
in? You think so?
Give
Well,
away
he's
a
coming
quilt.
to the race. He's coming to the race.
He's coming to the proving ground.
Oh, is he?
Oh,
Well,
boy.
Chris?
Give away a quilt
Well,
in that store.
I'll get with you about the Sloppy Floyd stuff with your dad when I see you at the proving ground then.
Thank you, Chris.
Had Matthew Turner coming in at $1.99. Ordered a water bottle, but USPS lost the package.
They've been doing that, man.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt.
Who was that?
Matthew Turner.
Matthew Turner.
They've been doing that, man.
Well, sometimes it depends on if it says it's lost. If it just shows that it ain't moved, if you give it another week or two, it'll move.
Yeah.
I mean, we got several stuff that we're expecting, that we're sending, that's getting
Well, people sent
Stuck.
us stuff on January 16th, and it still ain't here.
exactly.
That's what happens when you put the government in charge of anything. It's a government organization, isn't it?
The Senate's been supposedly getting on the post office here the last.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh,
John
by the way-
Ossoff. John Ossoff
Oh, great.
has been on the post
By the
office
way,
tail.
sign a dang executive order that bans daylight savings time, by the
Oh,
way.
thank you.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Gosh, that would be nice.
Anyway, how hard is that?
That would be nice.
We had Allison Dodd come in at $10,
I remember her.
Allison.
commenting while women are still allowed to listen to the 307 podcast.
Well, you're late.
Hashtag
You're
bring
late.
back Brooke.
You're late.
Hey, I hope all you guys listen to the podcast and y'all hear us give Brooke a ration of crap. I hope y'all know that we're just joking about that stuff, man. We love our women, and one of the biggest influence in my life was my mother. So we love our women, man. I actually love women way more than I like men.
Well, y'all might be joking.
Yeah.
We had Marty Bingham come in at $4.99.
Big Marty, I'm glad he's still alive. Darn, I was starting to wonder, as old as he is, if he wasn't done passed on by now.
Well, he's getting old because he sent the same super chat twice with the same message, so he had forgotten in that short amount of
Dementia's
time.
setting in, Marty.
Protein folding in your brain.
Somebody's going to take his daggone card and finances away from him.
He got CWD.
He come in at $4.99. Said, "If you are serious about letting me come to the Proving Ground course, I would love to catch up with you guys."
Yeah, that Blake. Blake's been out of the office. He's been on the Alabama deer hunt. Marty sent an email. You need to get back with him.
Marty's a
Blake.
photographer.
Marty, come out.
He could supplement. There you
Well,
go.
you need to
Come
send
out.
him
You
a-
know where it's
You
at.
know where
Quit
it's at.
playing.
You know when it is. Be there.
You know, you need to send him an email,
You
Blake.
live right side it.
Bring your camera.
Yeah, bring your camera. We'd love you to come out and take some pictures, Marty, and hang out, man.
Then he come back in shortly after with that same message. I'm worried if I email him, he might not remember that I emailed him.
Is that what he said?
No.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah, the way he did that double there.
If you
but-
come out, bring me a king size nutrageous candy
So
bar.
he come in with, he numbers them. That was number one.
my
The repeat was number one also. Then the
Oh,
third
Lord
one
God.
was number
You
three.
should have offered that trade to Chris, that you'll give him that hat for a king size nutrageous.
That's right.
Would you do it for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Well,
a
Marty
Diet Mountain
came
Dew?
back in
Yeah,
at
Diet
$9.99.
$9.99. Thank you, Marty.
I
Diet
can
Dew.
even help Honey Boo Boo with his people skills if we can get a shock collar on him. We'll probably need some extra batteries, though.
Is he calling him Honey Boo?
Hey, you do got that one shot collar that needs to be tested
Yeah,
out,
I
and
do.
I guarantee you Chili would do it.
Yeah, he probably would.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
a Patreon exclusive.
Yeah.
He'll tase himself too.
Yeah.
Cornwell and act like he did.
By golly, I did.
No, he didn't.
Then he come back in for the fourth time and labeled this one number 2. $4.99. I'm pretty handy, so I can help with any heavy lifting or anything else that would be useful to the team.
Marty, we are not
You
going
can
to
take
let
my
an
protein.
elderly
He's not
person
gonna heavy
anything
lift.
heavy.
Heavy
Marty.
Yeah, you like to survive the proving ground anyway, Marty.
Yeah, we're not.
Good
Marty,
night.
no, look, man, we're not going to expect much out of you. We know you're getting old, buddy.
Bring us some snacks.
Corn expects us in outrageous.
And a jalapeno hot dog from Racetrack.
Yeah.
Little Virgil,
Keep
99
it warm,
cent.
too.
What's up, LV?
He sent that emoji with that halo on.
Dude,
That-
Little Virgil is a OG
He-
podcast listener,
He is,
man.
yeah. No kidding.
I mean, they probably ain't been 10 episodes that we ain't heard from him in all of history. He is an OG.
Yeah. Zach Wagner, $10, no message.
Thank you,
Thank
Zach.
you, Zach.
Zach.
Gidget's Garden, $27.99 Canadian.
Good night.
Keep up the truck talks.
Roger that,
Yeah.
brother.
Them
Thank
truck
you,
talks.
man. Appreciate that.
Zach
Send-
Wagner
send
come
gold.
back in at $10. I guess I'm trendy towards old man in this technology who can't figure out a super chat. CB, is your shoulder holding up? And Chad, where are you paddle training for that big kayak trip?
Good point.
Oh, man, I'm paddling up. I'm actually planning on doing some long paddles. Instead of road hunting, I'm going to do a squirrel dog paddle. I'm going to turn that dog loose on the banks of them river, and I'm going to just paddle down the river.
That
And
dog,
hunt that way.
Wendy's small. Just go down the Ultima Hall with her and pull off on
Yeah.
some of them sandbanks
Yeah.
and go just turn her loose.
Yeah.
Dang, alligator grab that dog in a second,
No.
dude. Yeah.
You heard Richard say that was overrated. That don't
do
ever
not
really
take
happen.
our dog down the Ultima Hall. Do not do that.
Okay, well, I'll take it down the Oostanala then. I'm paddling every daggone river around here, buddy.
We had Marty Bingham come back in at $4.99 for his 4th super chat. Well, it's 5th, but it's number 4. Chad got them lunchroom lady arms going. We need to get him a couple 2-pound dumbbells or something.
That's good, Marty. I can't even top that, Marty.
Lunch lady.
I mean, that's good right there, buddy.
That was pretty good.
You win this week, Marty. You win.
We had Dew to Dew come in at $4.99. Chad, everything y'all talk about on Mondays, I swear my pastor covers the Sunday before. Love your stuff, guys. Can't wait to train with y'all.
Thank you, dude.
He's going through Matthew.
Heck yeah, man. Monday meetings.
We had Juan Nunez. That's Allison's husband.
Yeah.
He come in at $1 with no message.
There you
I
go.
appreciate
Good
that,
day.
Juan.
Thank you, Juan.
We had Chris Jolly come in at $10. I will have some nutrageous next week. CB, your note is hanging in my gym. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Chris.
That's
Chris.
cool, man. We love you guys.
Well, if
Them-
Marty don't have one,
Yeah, he ain't coming in the gate.
This is the last one. Juan Nunez back in at $5. I would send more, but I just bought 30-pound ruck, and I'm saving up so I can do a route this year. Enough
Yeah,
said.
That's awesome.
Dang.
He just did a 20-mile ruck, I
seen
think, with
that.
20 pounds.
Yeah.
Hey,
think
by
so.
the way,
that's serious.
That's a big deal,
we
Juan.
have a ruck training plan
Yeah.
online that you guys should check out, man. A ruck training plan. I don't know that there's anything else quite like it. Chili and Cornbread came up with it, and a lot of people have followed it and I think have been getting good results. We've heard good stuff out of it, so check that out. It's on 307project.com. And thank you guys for all your super chats. We love y'all. Lord willing, we'll see you on Monday. Enough said.